2.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir, and how are you?
Oh, man. If I was any better, I'd be twins.
You would?
Yeah. I would be. Can't complain about any of it. It's one of those days where you're just happy to be alive and breathing.
If it wasn't for the traffic.
This
morning's traffic was terrible.
What time did you get here?
Actually, I was here earlier this morning. I got here.
There was an 18-wheeler wreck or something. I saw that alert, so I kind of took my time getting started. So,
and then the one thing that really upsets me, of course, being from Europe, is you get some people that drive like a snail.
Oh yeah, and they're in the left lane too.
No, that's right. Yeah, well, I'll call that the fast lane.
Yeah, the fast lane. They're like in the fast lane. You're what they call bumper humping.
Bumper humping.
You're on the bumper, and they won't move. They won't get over. They're like, whatever. I'm going to stay here. But it's crazy. It definitely happens. So.
It really is nuts.
It is.
It's nuts.
So welcome to the Olympian Table, where we talk about real estate, investing, and
life.
Bumper humping sometimes. You just never know what we might talk about.
As long as we talk about bumper humping.
Yes.
I don't want to get in trouble. My wife will get me in trouble if I do it now.
We definitely just kind of share our opinions on these topics, and we welcome you to kind of join and ask questions about what it is. We are real estate professionals that really, really take this industry seriously. But what we
sometimes.
talk about,
you've got to treat it with a sense of humor, because if not,
absolutely, you'll be crying, right? But yeah, these are our opinions. We are not financial advisors in any way, but we do dabble a little bit in here and there, so we kind of share what we do. So, yeah. So let's just dive in, man. Of course, we got some real estate stuff to talk about, but specifically, this is more kind of not necessarily controversial, but you had something about some lady didn't get a survey on a property or something like that when they bought a home.
Well, it frustrates me at times, and it's not just that I'm a real estate agent. People walking because they want to buy a new home, and builders have got all these upgrades because they want you to sign their contract, they want you to abide by all their terms and conditions, which 75% of the time are not in the interest of the buyer, they're in the interest of the builder.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and over the term of the loan, it can end up costing you ridiculous amounts of money. And I just happened to see this where, my husband made a mistake when buying a home, and basically they didn't look at the survey, which is something that a good real estate agent does to see what's happening. I mean, we've had builders that have tried to put us off with getting an inspection done.
Right.
Oh no, don't get an inspection, it's a new house, you don't need to do it. And then what's the inspector brought up? That the gradient of the home is running the wrong way.
Yeah. So the water's
So what you're doing is buying a home that's going to flood in the future.
Yep.
And so the people that work at the new home builders are not licensed agents, so one, they don't have to tell the truth.
Right.
Two, they work for the builder. But the people just walking in don't think that.
They don't. They think they're just because they're playing with your kids.
And everybody's got this. Everybody's got this perception. Oh, real estate agents are just there. They just want their commission. But that's not true. Good real estate agents, they want you as a client for life.
The good ones.
Right.
Emphasis on good.
Right. Not the little, part-time patties that I call. I'm talking about real full-time agents that are out there making a living. They want you as a client for life, and they're going to make sure that you're taken care of. And, at Century 21 Olympian, we have our standards, and one of the things that we tell our agencies is we need a passion. All our agents have a passion for learning, keeping up a passion for learning, but giving just good customer service, because that's part of the passion of delivering and feeling good about what you do. But so tell me what you got, James.
Well,
you said something happened in your neighborhood and you wanted my opinion.
It did. I was going to get that, but I want to, just so everyone knows, the survey, of course, shows the ownership of that property, right? And she said they didn't look at it, and part of their yard was in the conservation land. And I think that's an issue, because if you look at it and you didn't realize where ownership goes.
We had another instance with a survey where somebody wanted to put a pool in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
And so they bought that. They was looking at buying the house. They had a survey, and they was looking at putting a pool in the backyard. But there was what they call an easement through the centre of the yard at the back, which was through the city of Houston. So in the event that the city of Houston needed to do something with that sewer line, they would have had to break their pool.
Of course.
And I'm glad to say they didn't buy the house.
And the city of Houston would have been in their right to do so.
Oh yeah, and there's no cost that the buyer's going to get. There's no, well, we're going to buy, we're going to give you X amount of dollars for a new pool.
They don't have to do that.
So,
in this instance, what this lady is saying, that it was a conservatory area, so they could use the land, but they couldn't do anything to it. They couldn't alter it in any way at all. So imagine half your backyard being a conservation land you can't do anything to. So, so again, you got to be careful. Now, this story I was telling you about, I'm just going to read it as it is, and you let me know your thoughts. When we moved in 3 years ago, the previous homeowner hadn't paid HOA dues in years. We were told the account goes with the property, not the homeowner. And the land POA apparently refused to try and collect from them. We ended up paying $15,000 more for our house just to clear the POA account. We were really stuck because we were already living in our house, and the owner had lied about several other things with the sale. It was a nightmare. Does that sound...
I want to split it up into two things.
Split it up however you want.
First thing is, I'm not an attorney.
Of course.
Good real estate agents will always say, I'm not an attorney, get yourself legal advice. The other thing that I just want to state is we do HOAs here. We have a HOA department. You don't do as many as I'd like, but we run a few. But the HOA goes with the house.
Right.
It doesn't go with the homeowner. Now, whether that's different with the POA,
that's what she said.
Okay.
It goes with the house.
Right, it goes with the house. But the previous owner is responsible for paying the HOA.
Correct.
Until the time of closing.
Correct.
And that normally comes from their proceeds.
Correct. So that's why, that was my first thought, because they put this story out there, and I'm like, something doesn't really ring true to me about that story, because just like you said, the homeowner is responsible for that payment, and it typically will come out of their proceeds. Not that you, as the new homeowner, have to pay $15,000 more to cover it. That just doesn't sound true to me, because when we close on a deal, the title company usually orders the certificate.
If there's monthly fees, they take out 2 months.
Exactly.
They take out 2 months.
Well,
if it's a yearly fee, then it's prorated.
Right. But it's usually settled at the closing table, and no one comes knocking on your door a week or two later. Hey, by the way,
Sounds to me like somebody dropped the ball.
Somebody definitely dropped the ball somewhere. Yeah, drop the ball somewhere. But this is what people put out in the public, and it really scares people from wanting to buy homes.
I recently purchased a condo. It's in this area. And on the whole, I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty impressed with the HOA company because I understand what they deal with and what they go through. And it was quite funny because I went to a meeting, it was last week, and it was meet the candidates for the new board.
Meet and greet.
Right, yeah, which I think was a really good idea. And then there's a little tab to get in to the building, and they said it'll be ready in 24 hours. 72 hours later, and I'm thinking if I'm an owner occupant, that's going to be fun working out. For 72 hours, I'm looking forward to take all my furniture, into the building. And then recently, they turn around and they've got an annual general meeting tomorrow. And I'm trying to vote, and then yesterday I was told that I couldn't vote because to transfer the paperwork, which I've sent to them multiple times, in my opinion, it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to change the ownership into the new name.
What are they using carrier pigeons or what? Oh my goodness!
And I'll be honest with you, I went nuts at the poor guy on the phone. I told him, I run HOA companies. I said, all you've got to do is to go into your owner portal, click a little button where it says edit.
Change the name.
Then change the name.
Right.
Exit the old owner out. Put our name in. Put that we've paid 2 months in. That's all you've got to do. And it takes you 6 to 8 weeks to do that. And then there's an annual general meeting tomorrow. And it's very difficult with these HOAs to get quorum. So in the bylaws, everything goes by the declaration. You've got to get enough people there. Yeah. I'm trying to do my bit to get involved with the corporation, and quite honestly, I quite like their communication. They're sending emails out to, well, we've got a drone that's flying around the building, tomorrow or whatever it is, and we're power washing the front, and kudos to that. I think that's a pretty cool way to do it. I'll be honest with you. But when it comes to the admin on the backside, I'm not very happy because quite honestly, then you start to think, well, do the books take 6 to 8 weeks to update?
Yeah, that's a long time. That is.
And the accounting is. And I thought I bought myself a bit of a deal, and then I go to a meeting last week, and it says that the building's got a $500,000 loan on the building for some improvements that they did some time ago. So, I tried to get involved in on the board, to be perfectly honest, because I felt they needed a bit of help. There's some good people on the board that want to get involved. And they told me that I couldn't vote because I didn't make the drop-dead dates to fill in your little form. So I'm perfectly okay to go by the bylaws. I think that's the most important part, the bylaws on it. So. HOAs can get confusing, and HOAs are very emotional. You get some people on the HOAs that really think they are President of the United States.
They really do.
They think really they're above the law. Well, your dog's pooping on the floor. Well, tell them to go pick it up. Tell them to get out. Do an eviction on them. I mean, you just can't act that way. There's laws that you've got to go through. But it's been very educational for me to learn about HOA laws. The part that upsets me more than HOAs than anything else is to run a HOA, you don't have to be licensed. Which to me, that's an article in itself. Because you get some HOAs that are self-managed. Now, them are the HOAs that are self-managed that you get a lot of accounting problems. You get people taking money.
Of course.
And, it's... You've only got to go look on Google and put, self-managed HOA. Because when you start to really... I really believe with HOAs, you should have a license. Because when you were talking about... When you were talking about escrow accounts, when you're talking about reserve accounts, and the management of them accounts. That's what's important.
I agree. I totally agree with you. Well, shoot, while we're still on the real estate, let's just start from on the bottom on this. Of course, we know rents are difficult.
I've got a funny story to tell you about that.
Rents are going up. They are high, and people are trying to figure out ways to actually do and take care of business.
Trust me.
But there's a guy in Toronto who he rented out, or tries to rent out, beds, 3 beds in the same room for $420 each. And I don't know if this is a picture of the beds, but come on, that looks like prison cots almost. But $420 will get you.
Did you pay extra for the table?
I guess so. If you want the table, the guys on the right side got the table there. But man, I know it's been tough and finding a place to live. Period. I've heard stories in Toronto. It's been crazy to be able to find anything.
I've got a tenant, a little 1-bedroom unit, and I try to keep it as reasonable as I can. Okay, my taxes have gone up. My HOA fee's gone up by 10%. She pays $750 a month. I have them sign an addendum which basically says that the rent will go up 3% per year.
Is that 1%? I mean, 1 bedroom?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a 1-bedroom unit. And we had a meeting because apparently when it was rented out, the addendum wasn't signed. So, yeah, fair enough. So I thought, well, if she's going to renew the contract, she's going to sign the addendum this year. Well, I was told that she's not paying the 3% increase. And there's no reason why she should beg. And it's a 3% increase, which is $22 or $27 or whatever. And then one of my other agents who owns some properties, he's got 8 properties, turned around and says he's been increasing his rents anything up to $150 because the expenses that he's got to increase them.
I can believe it.
You know. And it's pushing up, you know, the cost of rents and such like, and you're trying to make it reasonable to people. And I'll be honest with you, I was very disappointed with the tenant over the $27.
I'm sure they had something to say about it. They complained.
Oh yeah, she said to me, I'm not going to beg to you. I'll find myself somewhere else. I said, it's fine. And the truth of the matter was, if I rented the property out, I'd get more than $750 a month.
So is she moving?
Well, she basically has changed her tune. Now she's gone out and had a look.
And there's nothing else.
She's changed her tune. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I hold no malice. You know, it is what it is. But to be perfectly honest, the increase that I was asking is not going to cover the increase in my fees.
Sure.
You know.
But you're a nice guy, so you're just trying to go easy on it for now.
You know, to be perfectly honest, ideally, I'd like to sell it. I'd like to sell the unit.
Yeah.
You know, that would be my choice. You know, fix it up a little bit and sell it and get out of Dodge.
I got you. Everett, I don't know if that picture of the beds, if you scroll down to the actual ad a little bit, it gives a rundown. There it is. So you got 1 large, fully furnished bedroom, 3 beds available, $420 a bed. You got utilities and Wi-Fi included. 3 bus stops within 1 block. Separate entrance into the unit, laundry, and a convenience store, pharmacy, and Pizza Nova is nearby. I think I've had Pizza Nova there in Toronto. It's pretty good. But yeah, there's another picture down there. Keep scroll down.
Look at the third paragraph with the median 1-bedroom rental price.
That's the rental, $1,900.
That is absolutely nuts.
That's their median price, $1,900. But that's the unit, man. $420 a month, bro. For the beds, 3 beds. Now, I don't think it's that bad here, but that is crazy. There's no privacy, no nothing. And shoot, I think the good Lord that I have somewhere to stay and not having to rent something, because if I had to, man, I might be living with you and the dogs.
You'd be living with the dogs.
Whatever works.
At least live in?
Man, something. It's crazy. But I guess landlords got to do what a landlord has to do, right?
Well, people think it's all, a bunch of roses for some landlords, but to be perfectly honest, it's tough for us as well.
And you know what people have forgotten so quickly? The landlords couldn't evict anyone the past 2 years. So they've had to carry the burden of all these bills of making sure, we can't put anybody on the street. What do you do?
We had one landlord.
That is true, one lord.
We had one landlord who the tenant owed $17,000.
Oh.
All right. The tenant had gone to 2 organisations, took the money,
and didn't pay the landlord. See? That should be a jailable offense, in my opinion. That's stealing.
And we have some tenants now that we had another tenant that took the money and then she was going to get evicted or she was going to have something kind of credit, and so to do the nice thing, we loaned her $600 so she could pay her electric bill. Just because I'm a nice guy. And
it was that much? The electric bill was that much?
Well, it's funny you say that because that's what one of my other agents said when we was talking about it yesterday. And I don't know what it was, but there you go.
My last electric bill was $112. It's like, come on, $600?
So, we tried to help. I'm accused of not going by the rules enough, to be perfectly honest. A lot of my property managers turn around and they laugh at me.
Yeah.
But all I'm trying to do is to, take a look, be nice to people, and hopefully people will be nice to you.
You hope that's the return, but some people are just about themselves.
Can I chime in here on a couple of real estate properties, especially for renters?
Sure.
Okay, my mother actually owns a great deal of land. So she did the one thing that most people tend to do. She wasn't going to live in it. She was going to rent it out. However, the person that she rented it out for doesn't really pay bills in the conventional way. No, he pays.
She's got cows on it, are they? Shit on it.
No.
He barters or what?
He doesn't really, well, not in exactly a way. He claims to be very good with his hands, so all he actually does is that whenever my mom actually has a maintenance problem, he comes over, he fixes it, and he's kind of docked for paying rent.
Yeah, so he's bartering his services.
Exactly.
Offering. Okay.
That's another way how in my area or how people usually try to get by rather than, squatting inside of a dumpster.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I hope she's got a lease.
Oh, we all got a lease, trust me. Yeah, the only other person who doesn't live in that, the only person who never paid a dime while living in that house was my Uncle Jimmy, and he was literally a 3-foot tall dwarf.
Well, perhaps he gets a discount.
I know, right?
Oh man. Okay, moving on. I guess we can pop up to the top, man, because we'll come back to some of this stuff. So, of course, New Jersey, great state of New Jersey. There's a few things. I've been to New Jersey a couple times, flying there.
I live in New Jersey for a time.
You can't even pump your own gas in New Jersey. You know that, right?
Oh my God, we get the Texaco service in New Jersey?
You cannot pump your own gas. You have to pull up to the pump, and there's people out there, and it's full service. You tell them what you want. You give them your credit card. They put it in the machine. They pump your gas, and they bring you back your card and the receipt once it's finished.
Oh hell no! I would not give them my credit card.
You will if you're in New Jersey, because it is against the law for you to pump your own gas. It was the weirdest thing ever.
No.
But it's whatever. But another weird thing in New Jersey, they passed a law that allows for trans inmates to be housed in the facility with women, a women's only prison. And in doing so, in this particular instance, there is an inmate, there's things that go on in prison that you can't control. One of those being sex. And there are now 2 pregnant women in the prison after having sex with this other incarcerated person there. Now,
I think that's my chin dropped.
2 inmates are pregnant after having sex with a transgender inmate because, of course, he still, or she, whatever they go by, he still has his weed whacker.
His dangly bits.
Still has them. But this is how it's 27. There's 800 inmates there, and 27 of them identify as transgender.
So there's 27 dangly bits.
That's 27. So I don't know who's been identified as the person, but essentially there's 27 legally born males in with the rest of the women that are there. Now, the way that this law is written, Steve, just so you know, they do not have, it does not require them to undergo gender reassignment surgery to be held in that facility. All they really got to do is just say, hey, I am a woman, I feel like a woman, I need to go over there with their women.
Yeah, I think, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty unsure if you're going to be sent to a women's prison. I think the first thing you need to do is chop off the willy whack.
Well, you would think that would be the case, but the ACLU won a case and it defended this policy to allow transgender, if they're living there, they identify, to protect the rights of transgender women. So, it's in law, man. It is in law.
Well, if you make it the law that they got to chop it off.
Well, not that they got to chop it off.
No, I know.
Oh, yeah.
If that was the law, where would you put them in the time?
Right. Where would they go?
Well, prisons actually have medical facilities. But then again, it takes a certain equipment to actually do it.
Here's my thought. You have children now being born to 2 parents that are both locked up. Where's that child going to go?
Absolutely.
That's an easy question. I already know this one. If a child is actually born in prison, trust me, they get sent to the foster care system.
Well, right, I understand that, but my point in that is that's another expense. You're already paying to house the parents. Now you're having to pay another to house the child, and what a terrible existence for them. I don't know, man. It's just, for me,
for a kid to grow up like that, that's...
Oh, trust me, it's going to get worse for that kid. First of all, to actually get a parent to actually take in a prison baby is hard as hell. Because a lot of parents are concerned whether or not there are behavioral genetics that are being passed on to that kid. And it's like, well, what happens if that kid grows up and he actually has violent tendencies like their parents? Well, regardless what the crime was of their parents.
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. It sucks,
It's not unfortunate, it's avoidable.
It's definitely avoidable. But that's man, you seem to be a loss for words there. It's crazy. When I read it to my wife. I was like, babe, you are not going to believe. Well, because we've gone to New Jersey together. I was like, New Jersey, it's kind of weird stuff, laws they got. Check this out. And she was flabbergasted as well that this person was allowed to impregnate these women.
And the transgender person with the willy whackers having a great time. Having the time of his life.
Time of their lives. He got 800.
Sitting back with a cigarette. Next one, please.
Next one, exactly. 800 willing candidates. Those women are all over it. But yeah, man, that's. I thought that was very interesting. When I saw that, I was like, you know what? I got to at least bring it up, talk about it. Let's see where we are with that. What else?
I don't I'm still sort of getting my sort of head around this situation.
There's no getting your head around that one because it makes no sense. It truly makes no sense at all. I don't care how you slice it. No pun intended. It's just not. It's not going to happen where there's any understanding to it because it's nonsensical.
But even in prison, I mean, where would they do it?
Oh, come on.
Come on, Steve.
It's prison.
Where they're all showering together? Or?
In the shower, in the dorms, those prison guards, man, they're not paying them a mint to work there.
Okay, here's the thing. Prison guards only do their job normally in phone booths or in the cafeteria. They really don't give a shit what you do in your cell, in your shower, or anything else.
Yeah, it's definitely happening.
So what they should really do is keep all the transgender things
in a separate area?
In a part of the prison to themselves.
Unfortunately, that also costs money.
You would think that would be what they do, but you do that for 27 people, and you got 800 of them over here.
Exactly.
Total. Why do they get the special treatment? I don't know. I say, here's the other thing, though. If it was flipped, they wouldn't send a transgender man to a man's prison.
Oh, my God. You'd get slapped around that.
Slapped around,
yeah.
Passed around.
Yeah.
They found out what you got in your trousers, and they say, "Oh, wait a minute, that's a he got a beard." No, he got a beard, but he got one of them there slits. Yeah, he'd be in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Being
kind of the main reason why despite the fact that many people advocate to be sent to a trans person to be sent to the other
absolutely
is like
crazy things, man. Crazy
why
things.
the fuck would I want to send even if I was a trans person? It's like why would I want to be sent to the prison where I know I'm basically going to be fresh meat?
Yeah, prison ain't my thing.
It can be arranged for a price.
Not my thing.
No.
All right, moving on, fellas. Moving on. Now, I don't know if you saw. I'm looking on here. Some of these. Let's go with number 7. So that was just kind of yesterday. It's old news now because the verdict that came out from a federal judge in Florida said that the mask mandate was off, that it was unconstitutional, never should have been put in place, and apparently the Justice Department stated that they weren't going to appeal this. So many people on flights, I saw some videos that were just excited that they were able to remove their mask, or they're making it optional. I'll just say that they're making it optional to wear your mask or not. And the CDC has kind of backed off a bit. Joe Biden has kind of backed off a bit. But it sounds like that the mask requirement is no longer.
Some of the CEOs for different companies, yeah, they basically turned around and said they didn't think that was appropriate anymore. You know, they said with the filtration systems in the airplanes themselves that they didn't feel that.
That was my argument from the beginning.
Yeah, they said that they don't feel that. You know, it's
the air on the airplanes is much cleaner than air anywhere else. Those filters that they use, so much more clean than anywhere else that you breathe in air. So.
Weirdly enough, he's right. I mean, seriously, since they disqualified smoking on airplanes now, it's like, yeah, that's pretty much the nicest clean. The only type of air that even smells even cleaner is the dentist's office.
Yeah, most definitely. So, for anyone that was, bent on wearing masks when you transit on planes and trains and automobiles, that is no longer a requirement. It's an optional request. I think you'll still see people wearing them, which is fine. Well, I think that should have been the case anyways, but shoot, I might still wear mine. Who knows? But nevertheless, at least you know it's not mandated that you have to wear them anymore. So we'll see how that goes, at least as we enter into the summertime. Well, once the fall comes, we'll see if it ticks up. Yep. What were some of those things you had thrown in, Steve? And I know but the one about your husband, the husband made a mistake.
Yeah, that was with the builder. We've already discussed that, though.
Yeah, well, there was another one I think you mentioned that you threw in here, because I got a few more myself. Did you see what was happening over in China? Over in Shanghai
With the COVID? Oh, I
yeah, with COVID, the numbers were spiking, and they got those people locked up in camps.
There's a lot of videos out there about people how locked up for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, running out of food.
Now, here's my thought. I think, and this is just me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, of course, but I think that we'll probably feel some of that shortage over here eventually. No one's really paying attention to it. They're not really reporting it, but if China's having a slowdown with it, we will eventually have it.
I was reading somewhere the other day that part of the problem is with a lot of the supply streams is it's like even when these cargo ships come over, they're parked outside for 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
So long.
Just waiting for a spot because there's the ships that are there, but they just haven't got the...
They haven't had the personnel to bring them in. Yeah.
And then half of the time, what they're doing is it's cheaper for the companies to leave the containers here than what it is to take them back to China. Because there's nothing to put in them.
Right.
So the supply chains have got a real problem. Can we take a look at number 8?
Yep.
Which I think is pretty interesting.
I knew we'd talk about that one. That's why I threw it on there.
Yeah. The US dollar rockets, regarding the yen. The US dollar rockets to a 20-year peak versus the yen unfed.
The dollar is almost equal to €1, man. That's been that hasn't been that way in a little bit, huh?
It hasn't, and the dollar's pretty strong at the moment.
It is.
And that's the part that I find pretty hard to really get my head around, because everybody says recession, 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 but yet the dollar seems pretty strong.
It is.
And if anybody's a crypto fanatic like I've got, I mean, crypto went down to 38.5, but now it's started to come up a bit. But I'm talking about Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, I mean, has been hovering around 38, and some people are even saying now they think it's going down to 20, 25. I just don't see it. I think people are panicking. Put your big boy pants on.
Exactly.
I buy for the long time. I'm not one of these people that's trading Bitcoin. I'm just buying for the long time. But quite honestly, if you look at the dollar and how strong it is, and apparently a lot of the earnings for a lot of the companies was pretty strong as well, which I really find difficult to understand.
Do you think it's difficult to understand because of all the propaganda that's put out by the media?
Well, that's what I think. A lot of it is nothing but panic.
Right.
With social media today, you can go out there and all people are interested in is the clicks on YouTube and the clicks on the Twitter.
So they'll put it in
because they get more interest, so it ends up losing its value, to be perfectly honest. I was doing trading, and then when I wasn't well, maybe, I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, that I'm still trying to get myself, so, mentally, I'm just in the right place. But I mean, quite honestly, I'm looking at Bitcoin now, and Bitcoin at the time of this podcast is 41,221. And that's a change of minus 219. So, it's all, Ford is up, Toyota Motor Company is up, which I've got stakes in, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
The ones that I say, I try to, have a little bit in. But I think there's a lot of countries personally that would like to be where we are.
Oh, of course.
And I really think that I don't know. I just think it's not as bad as people say. If there is going to be a recession, like I've told you before, I think it's going to be the end of this year, beginning of 23. But I don't think it's going to be a long recession. I think it's going to be bouncing back.
Oh, that's hopeful. That's hopefully the case, because I'm honestly not interested in now through the Great Depression anymore.
But it's not going to be a Great Depression. I just don't think it will be.
I don't think so either. There's too much going on. I mean,
there really is. I think the world's changing. I think that's.
I think then things were so. I guess, for lack of better terms, so one-sided. So you had your automobile industry, maybe you had your oil and gas. Things are so much more diversified now that it's just hard for every single sector to just tank to where we're getting into a Great Depression.
And I was thinking about this. What I'm going to say now. I've been thinking about this for maybe a week or so. But I think what's actually happening is I think there's more millionaires and billionaires coming to the front at the moment. I mean, let's take, Elon Musk. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the things that Elon Musk gets involved with, but I think he's a genius. I think he's an absolute genius. But the truth of the matter is, what's he done? He deserves everything he gets because he's introduced, a new industry.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
He's got other companies.
And then people turn around to him.
Yeah.
People turn around to him and they say, oh, well, he's this, that, and the other as well. And, okay, I think he gets involved in things that perhaps he shouldn't, but the truth of the matter is, he's introduced a new industry.
He has.
Oh, indeed.
Amazon as well. Jeff Bezos. What is it? People want to hate successful people. I mean, and it's.
I think they really want to take the small negative aspects of people, because again, people aren't perfect. We're not. We never have been. Don't kid yourself. And then we typically try to focus on that to make ourselves feel better about it.
And I think you're right on that. I think you're very, very right on that, Everett. And that's another thing that makes me. Warren Buffett is a typical example as well. Successful guy. Very, very successful. Has some incredible. He's developed billions, and people knock the guy.
Yeah.
And all he basically says is stick to what you know. In invest in what you know. He doesn't agree with, some things, but he doesn't necessarily say it's going to be a failure.
Right.
But, and he knocks Bitcoin. Why? Because he doesn't know Bitcoin.
Exactly.
And was it last year or the year before, he lost 50 billion, Berkshire Hathaway. That they still made, on the whole, a little bit of money, and it was only 180 million or something.
Holy crap, Warren Buffett's over 90 years old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he still lives in the same house as 1967.
He
drives a Volvo. I think it's a Volvo. Yeah.
I thought it was a Toyota. But either way, I mean, shoot.
Yeah.
That's why he's as rich as he is.
His first law of being a millionaire, billionaire, is don't live above your means. And I admire the guy for that.
Well, the one thing I've read about him just recently, because I didn't actually know who Warren Buffett was until 2 seconds ago. From what I just read, he pretty much just sounds like the ideal regular rich person. He doesn't invest in things that he doesn't know about, which again is probably
one of his rules that he goes with.
Yeah.
I recommend anybody to go to YouTube and look at some of his interviews, because his interviews are very educational.
He seems to be the ideal rich person, as in the rich people don't really need to be buying luxurious things that reality they don't really need.
And the only thing that he does every day, he goes to McDonald's and has a cheeseburger or something in the morning.
Hey, that's the diet that lives to 91. Yeah. I'm with you.
So
I don't know. If I was a billionaire, the first thing I'd probably eat more often was probably Wendy's than McDonald's. But still, I like to fry.
Yeah, but to that point, Steve, I think with Musk, he's bringing other people. He's bringing them up to be able to compete, because everybody's getting into the EV market. Everybody's getting into it. So
into what?
The EV market. I'm trying to make a car.
Well,
that's affordable. Yeah. So
I told you, my wife just decided to buy one.
Yeah.
The Model Y, and he doesn't get here till January the 23rd.
And honestly,
and another thing that Elon Musk, I was actually surprised, to be perfectly honest, the price of this vehicle. It was cheaper than what I thought, because part of the distribution of Tesla is there's no dealership.
Right. No,
so you haven't got the dealership markup on top of the car.
That's true.
Maintenance is less, so your oil changes are gone. I mean, just think how he's changed the automotive industry. The thing that they do say is that AI is going to be the big thing, the next big change. So, you're going to sit in your car, you're going to put Office in your computer, you can work while it's doing the train. You haven't got to worry about people driving in the fast lane at 30 miles an hour.
Yep.
And they do think that that's going to be the big thing.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see. All right. What else we got on here?
Mardi Gras passenger jumps overboard.
So that's another car. We talked about a situation. I think that was
3 or 4 months ago.
Norwegian or something. Somebody jumped off.
Yeah, we have a lot of boat problems recently.
Yeah, this is a Carnival cruise where somebody supposedly they jumped overboard as I don't know if the children made them jump over, but they mentioned screaming children in the middle of the night. And you know, once you jump over the edge of that ship, you're pretty much you're done.
Dead meat.
Yeah, you're done anyways.
Okay.
But it was apparently on the last leg of that voyage, headed to Port Canaveral, out in Orlando area. And just after midnight, so it was in the pitch black, and he was on deck 7, and jumped off the cruise line, and apparently, I think it was a man that actually jumped over, and their kids. I don't know what all the situation was, the circumstances, but I think they were there with a couple of teenagers.
Perhaps he was just enjoying his holiday so much he decided he didn't want it to stop.
Possibly. But I know the Mardi Gras is Carnival's largest ship, and man, you fall off of that thing. That's one thing I can say about Disney. The Disney cruises, the way that it's constructed, if you jump over one of those edges, it ain't gonna be nice for you, because you're gonna land on a deck below. Ow! The places where you can look and see the water are at the very top, and you can see it. But they have it so safe to where the kids can't get through and fall over. So if you go over a rail, you're just gonna hit the next deck somewhere. But you won't fall in the water at all. So maybe you live, maybe you have a broken back or leg or something, but you'll be alive, hopefully.
It's kind of weird what Disney actually goes through to actually make sure that we mandate children's safety.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mostly because considering the fact that this wasn't even a couple of years ago, there was actually a report that a kid in Florida Disney World got attacked by an alligator.
Oh, that I think that was the one that jumped over there. They went over into the enclosure or something. I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes. What you got, sir?
The question for you is, we've spoken before about the stock value of Disney.
Oh, yeah.
It was at 195 earlier on in the year.
195?
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's down now.
It's 125 as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's the reason for that? Is that good?
Well, here as of late,
What's your opinion?
my opinion, here as of late, Disney has taken a stance, and public or not, it's their business, because I have nothing against anyone to choose their lifestyle the way they want to live their lifestyle, but they've taken a public stance in support of or against this new bill that was passed, the Parental Rights Act in Florida, which was basically talking about the parents having, for lack of better words, first right of refusal to talk to their children about sensitive subjects like sex and orientation and, gender and all that kind of stuff from kindergarten up to third grade.
Huh.
So apparently some of the executives that are there or that have been there came out talking against this bill. They call them the Don't Say Gay bill. They came out talking against it and how they can't believe it passed and blah blah blah, and how they were going to be working to try to incorporate anything they can into upcoming movies and films or deals so that children can be exposed to that kind of thing.
They can be exposed.
That they will be, because since the bill passed, okay, so the bill passed, then this is what we're going to do, basically. Some people from Disney, they had them on recording saying this. They're going to put it in the cartoons and the animated films, whether it's two people kissing that shouldn't be normally kissing. And I think that just kind of comes across as, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to get to the kids? Nothing against those folks if they want to do that, but why are you so bent on talking to kindergarten to third grade kids about sexual situations of sexual orientation and gender? Now, why does that matter? They barely can tie their shoe or wipe their own butts, but you're so bent on trying to make them see two men kiss or two women kiss or whatever. It shouldn't matter. They're going to be exposed to that stuff because that's just life where we live. But I think many of Disney supporters are more conservative in that approach. They don't want their children exposed to some of those things, and that's probably being reflected in the stock price. I think people are going to start pulling back on some of it, and
do you think it'll have a long-term effect on their stock price, or do you think the stock prices will go
probably
down?
Probably not a long-term effect, because I think people will still, if you've ever experienced Disney, it's like no other. We've done it a couple times. But if you're very staunch in your beliefs, I think there's a lot of conservative people, man, that have money tied up in Disney. And if you find out, okay, the one safe place that I felt like, because they don't even say boys and girls anymore at Disney, supposedly. It's just hello, everyone. No boys and girls, no ladies and gentlemen, and it's just like, come on, man. I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Just.
The last time I went to Disney, it was children and parents. That was pretty much.
Yeah, they just don't. They're leaning a little bit too far, quote unquote left, a little bit more liberal, and I think people are going to start pulling their money out. And right or wrong, if it's my money and I want to pull it, then so be it.
Ironically enough. It's funny enough, in fact, that Disney actually has that stand, while its partner Pixar has a different stance.
Yeah, but Disney owns Pixar.
Actually, no. Pixar is
anymore?
No. It was never technically in ownership. It was a partnership. Okay, here's the thing. Pixar always works for Disney, correct? So we've never actually seen a DreamWorks Pixar movie. That's fine with me. Because they're rivaling companies anyway. But Pixar Pixar typically has but Pixar has its own head CEO separate to Disney's, which means that typically, which means technicality, if Disney just says, "Oh, we want this," well, Pixar can definitely say, "No, we're not going to make that."
Well, Pixar, Steve Jobs owned Pixar before. Disney owns Pixar. When he left, Disney owns Pixar for sure.
That's what I always thought.
Yeah, they own Pixar. They didn't always own it, but when it went from him, Disney picked it up. It is a Walt Disney company for sure.
I thought Disney owned Pixar.
Yeah, they do. I can't remember the last time I saw a Pixar movie. My kids are grown now, but I think it started as collaboration, but for sure, I know it went over to them. But to answer your question, I think that's kind of what the trajectory with and it had, as you
From an investing standpoint,
it's gone down for a while.
It has. And a lot of the stocks down this morning.
Yep.
Tesla's down. Tesla's a good buy at the moment.
And let me just say, Jane was correct. I am sorry to actually input wrong information.
Oh no, it's all good.
Do you know what stock's really good?
What's that?
For a recession, or is it? I think it's a recession.
Tell me so I can get some. What is
Walmart.
Huh?
Walmart stays strong, believe it or not. Walmart stays strong.
My Walmart has gone through the roof compared to when I bought it.
Walmart's WMT, if you don't know.
I mean, Walmart has just gone through
Oh my
the
goodness.
roof.
It's at 159?
I bought them for 110.
Oh yeah, you won on that one, sir.
Oh, come on. Walmart has always been strong, huh? Decent.
It pays decent dividends as well. I just reinvest them back. And do you see where Apple is?
Oh yeah, I got Apple. I'm in Apple for sure. Apple, I got in an Apple. Apple's where is that today?
Did you get in before the split?
Yes.
What did you pay for it before?
No, you know what? No, I didn't. I don't think I did. I think I got in an Apple at 121, if I remember correctly. It's at 166 now. So.
How did your Zillow work out?
Man, I'm losing on this. I need to let it go.
I got in the same day as you. I lost as well.
I need to. Do you still have it?
I paid an average of $63 for it, and it's now down to 46.
Man, I lost big time on that one. I took a gamble, and yeah.
What do you think? Do you know about staying in for a longer life?
Might as well. I mean, that's what I did with AMC. So when I got an AMC, bro, I got in and I lost. I lost so much that I was just like, I cannot believe that I got into this stupid deal. But man, then it popped. It took probably like 6 months, but it ended up popping that one day, and it increased. Like, I think I sold it like $87. No, $67 or something ridiculous. So I got all my money back plus some. So. Yeah, it was I got out of that crap. But yeah, it's a fun ride. It's definitely a fun ride.
It's funny, so the stock market at the moment, I mean, it's pretty... The one that I lost money on was good old, is it Cathy Woods? The innovative lady?
Cathy Woods? What does she do?
ARK Investments.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, she maintains that the growth of the companies, I think it'll happen like 4 or 5 years to stabilise because they're new companies and they've got to go through that growth phase. And then the other thing that I've got to mention before we sign up, I just want to mention an icon unfortunately passed away in the Houston real estate market yesterday.
Yeah, man. Well, was it yesterday or was it over the weekend?
I don't know I don't know the actual day that it was. But,
how old was she?
Let me go in now. 81. I think she was 81.
Well, she lived a good life.
All right.
She, 81.
Go ahead. I mean, you can mention
her name was Martha Turner. She built an incredible real estate company in Houston. Done a lot for the industry. Basically, she passed away on April the 8th, actually. So she died some time ago, so they kept that.
They kept it away from us.
Yeah, they did. But she was a complete icon. I think her company was, they did a turnover of like 21 billion or something. I mean, just amazing. But Martha Turner was an absolute icon in the Houston area.
2.5 billion.
Yeah, I mean, it was just amazing. But you know, I just want she'll be dearly missed. I've got to tell you a story real quickly. I don't know what she passed of, but
I mean, she was 81.
My wife went to MD Anderson Cancer Centre, and she's sitting down, and of course, you know, she's married to an idiot like me, and she's sitting down, and she called me up, and she was ecstatic that she's sitting next to Martha Turner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, if you look actually on the thing that I'm looking at, it says after a valiant battle with cancer. But so
I will say this.
I never met the lady, but I've now Martha Turner company is part of Martha Turner Sotheby's.
Right.
You know, so it's part of the Rheology Group, which is part of Century 21. But I've got to tell you that, you know, she is a complete icon. I've never had the privilege of meeting her, although I would have liked to. But in the real estate environment, I really think that.
I agree.
You know,
I think she was a huge icon, and a lot of times her name was associated with a kind of even a luxury brand type deal.
That was her, but that was her vibe, if you want to.
But here's what I'm saying is to say, even though that it was almost synonymous to that, if you look at old articles and interviews, she talked about never turning away a deal. So whether it was 70,000 or 200, 300,000, she was still going to do the deal.
When
on it, I think that's what brings us success.
when I started in the business, there was an agent that was with a particular company, and she left this company. And she went to Martha Turner Sotheby's because she wanted to sell the market, which was the high-end home. And they had their own way of doing it. And I called up this particular agent, and I said, "Okay, how many deals have you done? How much money have you done?" She said, "I hadn't closed one deal in the year." All right, but she enjoyed the prestige of being with this particular company.
Right.
And I can guarantee you, with the numbers that are coming out now, because we didn't know previously, it's a very, very successful company. There's a lot of people that made a lot of money, but I was reading one of her obituaries yesterday, and it said, that Martha graduated from North Texas University. Mm-hmm. But she's been a mentor of thousands of agents over the years. And then she basically started the company $1,000 from her hometown banker and started a successful wig store in her first entrepreneurial endeavor. Well, I can guarantee you she was a better real estate agent than she was a wig seller. But what is it to say? Just that we will remember you, Martha Turner. So I thought we had to just mention that at the end of it.
Good deal.
So
I think that's a good segue there, sir.
Yeah.
Well, shoot. As always, we bring you just topics and information that we think intrigue us and discuss it and give you our ideas on where things are. Of course, the first quarter of the year is already behind us, and we're almost through the end of the first month of the second quarter. So I'm excited to what's coming for the summer. I think a lot of people are going to be out trying to buy. We just got to get this inventory up and kind of go from there. So,
well, all right, guys. Well, be good, be happy. If you can't be good, be wicked.
And of course, if you need information about buying, selling, renting, contact Stephen. The information is down below in the description. If you need a mortgage for those properties,
and if you're looking to get into the business business of real estate and becoming a great real estate agent, come and see us. We've got some great programs.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, see you next week.
Have a wonderful day.